All right, I wanted to make a video for anybody that might be stuck in the situation that I was stuck in. I just couldn't come to a solution right away. Finally, I did find a solution. And what happened was my seat post broke off in the seat tube. See that? Now, at first it broke off kind of flush, but then in trying to get it out, I actually pushed it in a bit. So it was down to about there. Now, the good news is when it moved, I thought, okay, well, at least it can move, you know? So that was a good sign. So I thought, well, I have to somehow get it out, dig it out. And luckily, it is hollow. It's a hollow seat post. So the first thing I had to figure out was how long was it in there? So it was in there about there. I think it's about 7 inches roughly. You know, it would depend on the situation, but in my situation, was down in there about 7 inches. And that's because the whole seat post is 450 millimeters, which is almost 18 inches. So I had about this much there in the seat tube, and I literally thought my bike was toast. I said, that's it, this is never coming out. I mean, it was hard to get in to begin with, let alone once it breaks, and it was just wedged in there. And I was thinking, this thing is never coming out. So finally, though, I said, you know what? I got to try something. So I went to Home Depot, and you can get this at any hardware store. And that is, I got a very long screw with a nice head on it, because what I had to do was I had to go into the seat post and kind of hook it down there. You see? Let me go ahead and do that. See there? So I had to hook the bottom of the screw head, or the screw head, to the bottom of the seat post. See that? And then I hammered upward, and slowly hammering, I was able to finally bring it out. So I basically had to kind of jerry-rig a tool, and luckily I just had enough length, because I didn't see any longer, because it had to be long enough to make it down to the bottom, but the head had to be small enough to make it through, you see? So I was able to kind of jerry-rig a tool, get it in there, and then this is just a little multi-wrench, little tiny multi-wrench. I was able to stick on the very end, so I just had just enough room there to start hammering upward, and then boom, it came out. So now I finally have a seat tube, and I can put a new seat post back in there. So if this happened to anybody, this was my solution. The main challenge was just finding one of these the right size. Head small enough to get through the hollow seat post, but long enough to make it all the way down to hook on the bottom. So that's it. You know, I mean, I've heard stories of guys having to, drill down there. You'd have to get a real metal expert to not ruin the frame, etc. Honestly, if this solution didn't work, I don't know what I was going to do. I might have just been stuck. So there you go. And this little contraption, couple bucks to save your bike. And I learned a valuable lesson. This is a 450 millimeter, 22.2 millimeter seat post. I think aluminum, and it just busted off on my fat ass. I weigh 200 pounds, but I've bent seat posts before, but I've never broken one, so I broke this one. So be careful with these long, skinny seat posts, especially fluted. I don't think fluted helps. I think fluted helps maybe with weight, but doesn't help with strength. So there we are, folks. There's my solution. Very happy and proud. See ya.